I do want to go through some guidelines. I know some of you have been at the other town halls and you're getting tired of me saying this, but everyone is muted. We want to see your face. And if you have a question, there's a chat link down below and you can write in there. So I'm going to begin with some background on Scott. Mayor Scott Mattis is a lifetime resident of Desert Hot Springs. He has served on the city council since 2007 and was elected mayor in 2015. He's owned a small business for nearly 10 years and belongs to the Desert Hot Springs Rotary Club. He volunteered for 20 years with the Desert Hot Springs Volunteer Fire Company. He has spent 2 years as president of Food Now and over 18 years coaching and umpiring for Desert Springs Little League. He also currently works as a resort manager for Sun Communities. He attended school in the city and now proudly raises his family in this town. He has 2 sons, both are graduates of Desert Hot Springs High School. His oldest son works as an EMT, and his youngest son just graduated from UC Riverside with a BA in English and is now working on his teaching credentials. He has been married to his wife, Victoria, for 3 years, and he has 3 beautiful stepdaughters, ages 15, 14, and 10, all who attend Desert Hot Springs schools. So welcome, Mayor Mattis. It's such a pleasure to have you. We have some questions. I'm going to start out with just give us an overview of the current shelter-in-place guidelines for Desert Hot Springs.
Yeah, the city is, well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's great to see different faces. I mean, every day I get to go to work, I get out of the house for a few minutes, but go home and my wife and daughters are there. My son's spending some time. He got his wisdom teeth pulled out yesterday, but for the most part, it's just the 5 of us at the house. So we get a little stir crazy sometimes, but so thanks again for having me. The city of Desert Hot Springs has been doing pretty well through this pandemic. We have 28 cases as of today. I don't know if they've updated today yet or not. That was the same amount we had yesterday. We have not spiked very high as some other cities have in Riverside County. I think we're the 3rd lowest city to have cases, so that's been positive. And the reason I say that is that the levels of people being infected are 18 to 64 are the highest groups, and we have a working community. A lot of people leave our community to work, but so I've always congratulated our citizens and our constituents on staying home and doing the right thing for what the county has asked us to do. The city of Desert Hot Springs has pretty much followed the county orders and the governor's orders. The only difference is when it came to evictions, we supported the non-evictions of people in their residence, but we also did that for commercial. Now, we didn't get into the landlord portion of it, meaning if you had a business and you weren't paying your rent, that's not our business. That's something that the landlord needs to work out with you on a hardship program or something. We're just saying during this pandemic, we're not going to allow someone to go through eviction, which pretty much aligns with the courts and the county and the state orders anyways. So besides that, the only change recently is they did open up golf courses and open spaces recently. We have no golf courses in the city limits of Desert Hot Springs, but we do have some open space and our parks. We've reopened the open space of the parks, walking tracks, and our dog parks. And that was as of Monday. So that's kind of the update of where Desert Hot Springs is today. And we're really looking forward to getting our businesses back open and getting back to whatever the norm will be in the future.
Good. Well, are there restrictions on what real estate agents are allowed to do when working, because we are now designated as essential?
Yes, we had quite a few realtors call when this first came down, and we identified them. What our process was is we have one person that's a focus point at our staff, our assistant city manager, Dory Whelms. She would then contact the county, and they would go through an exercise on what essential businesses were, because some weren't listed. And so they did say that real estate was an essential business. You need to social distance when doing your showings. home sales should be done as remote as possible and those types of things. So we've supported that portion of it, and it's nothing different than what the counties allow us to do.
So were you suggesting that we also follow guidelines when we're showing a vacant home?
Yes, we ask that everybody do the social distancing thing. So if you have someone that wants to see a home, ask them to come alone and or with their business partner, not bring a family with them. Try to social distance by staying 6 feet apart, wear your mask, wear gloves if necessary. I know a lot of people are kind of in a position where maybe they don't want their homes showing because of the virus at this time. But that's kind of your decision at this time. We're going to allow real estate to continue down that path as an essential business.
Great. Are there short-term rental restrictions?
We are following the
time frame of a short-term rental in Desert Hot Springs.
We're following what the counties put out. We are not putting any extra restrictions on those. We are not allowed. What the counties basically said is that short-term rentals, hotel stays must be related to COVID-19. So with that said, we followed those directions. We've been very fortunate. We do have quite a few rentals in our community, but we've had no reports of anyone, for lack of words, tattling on anybody about being in their homes as short-term rentals. So we've been very fortunate. I know other cities have had some issues with that, but we have not.
Does your city have terms on the short term, like 7 days, 10 days, 30 days?
I believe our city is 30 days, but don't quote me on that.
Okay. Well, you've already told us what the current COVID numbers were for the city. What is the outlook for residents should they want to be tested?
So I know the county is working towards getting everybody tested if they can. I was contacted, and I know a lot of public officials have been contacted by companies all over the state and country that are coming up with these tests. We recently, yesterday, I was contacted by a company out of the San Francisco area that's come up with a test that you finger prick and you could know within 15 minutes. I know the county wants to work towards that. Again, it's a supply issue. How many these tests can they get? I know that the drive-up center, is in Indio is now accepting individuals if you get a doctor's by appointment with a doctor's note. There's people in our city. The only way that they can get tested is if they go to Borrego Health and get tested, but Borrego Health won't test you unless you have symptoms. So I know that the county is working towards having drive-up centers for people who just want to be tested to see if they are carrying the virus or not. And maybe in the future that's going to happen. I believe it's going to be a supply issue, obviously, as it comes down. And that's something that the county is working on. And once we're notified, we'll notify our residents.
And is the city going to be doing contact tracing?
So the city will not. The county health professional will. So if they do have a case, the HIPAA laws protect a lot of people. So they will do a lot of research on where the contact, if it's community spread, where it came from, who they contacted with. They will notify individuals that have been possibly in that path. But because of HIPAA laws, they don't notify you of who. Where they're staying, they don't even notify the city. They didn't even notify the city the first two weeks of this virus. They finally had enough pressure from the local officials that we wanted to know that they finally put the map together and started notifying us. But for right now, yes, they will do a community. If it's community spread, they will do a background and see what they can find.
Yeah, you would think that an organization like CVAG or CVEP or one of those would be the central location for information to get out to the individual cities. Has that been brought up at all?
It has, and we tried a little bit at the beginning. CVAG got everybody together, and at the very beginning, it was kind of a toss-up on how people felt about this virus. A lot of people, including elected officials, felt that it was a flu, and it would go away, and more people die of the flu. But they didn't. I don't think people realized what type of strain this was and how damaging it is to the lungs and the respiratory system, and how there is no vaccine for it. And so we tried as a group to get together, and we just had different ideas. The supervisor's office did bring us back together with some updates a couple times, but I do think that's somewhere that we could work better at next time. I did have a meeting yesterday with the California League of Cities. All the mayors in Riverside County were invited, and I believe there was about 15 or 20 of us on the line there. And again, trying to work together to get more information quicker to the cities is something more important to us. Trying to utilize CVAG or WRCOG or CVEP is probably a good idea because the JPAs are already set. But again, it's organizing. It's almost like herding cats sometimes when it comes to elected officials. Trying to get them all in the room at the same time is tough.
Well, the hotel industry, along with many other industries, have been hit pretty hard. And I know the city has a lot of resorts, boutique hotels, spa resorts. How is the city addressing, or are they addressing ways to assist the hotels in this area?
So we haven't had any direct contact or direct request yet from the hotels. We take in a little over $2.5, I believe, $million in TOT each year. So it is very important to us to make sure that they stay in business. A lot of them have revamped themselves and been working okay through this time of season. This is kind of the end of their season to begin with. So some of them just shut down a little earlier than usual. But the larger hotels are seeing an impact. We have, I believe, four large hotels, meaning over 40 rooms in our community. And so throughout the Coachella Valley, it's taken an impact. I was listening to tonight on KESQ. They're going to have that coronavirus conversation at 6:30, and all the mayors are on it. And one of the questions was asked is, how is it impacting your community? Our community's been impacted by about $300,000 this fiscal year, but we're looking at maybe up towards a couple $1 million next year, and that's going to be part of the TOT that comes in each year, and we won't realize that until the first or second quarter of this next fiscal year when we receive those tax revenues. But we're looking at cities that are losing $15, $20 million in revenue, and how it's going to hurt them. So this is going to be a regional effort to try to get us all back on track.
And how about the cannabis industry? Because that is considered essential as well. And you have a lot of businesses in the city with cannabis.
Been very fortunate that the cannabis industry was labeled essential right off the bat, so they continue to work. We have not heard of any major layoffs. It seems like the business is still thriving and moving forward. So we should see our normal tax revenue from that industry.
So there's been no change in the revenue stream?
Not as of now, no.
Okay. I think, let me see if I have some questions from the audience. Yes. This is Rich LaRue, our president-elect. He's asking, Mayor Mattis, you have made massively positive progress with DHS since you have been in the office. What is the horizon for the city? On the horizon.
Well, I appreciate that comment. It was a little bit of an uphill battle about 4 years ago when I first took over, and it was about a 50-50 split when I took over as mayor about people believing in me or not believing in me. So it was just one of those long hauls of getting people down that right path and hiring the right staff and putting the right things together. The city has a great outlook. What I'm worried about is what this coronavirus is going to do to us in about a year when we start realizing the tax revenues and where we're going to be at. We might end up in another fiscal emergency. I know Palm Springs City is stating a fiscal emergency tonight just to prepare themselves, and that might be something that we have to do. What we have done better than what was done before I was mayor was that we put $11 million into reserves. That's huge for our small city, when at one point, literally in 2012-13, we had $400 in the bank. So it's really positive. We're getting ready to open our new city hall. We're going to do, if you don't follow me on Facebook, feel free, or follow the City Desert Hot Springs. We're going to do a video tour of our new city hall. next week, and you're just going to be amazed. It's like walking into Indian Wells, right, Dana? It is a beautiful city hall, brand new council chambers, offices for our city staff. Our police department is going to be able to expand where the old city hall trailers are. If you ever came to our city, there's these ugly construction trailers. It's going to have all one-stop services, and it's a pride of our community to finally have a city hall like this in our community. Road projects are continuing through our community. We just finished a state transportation grant that we received 3 years ago along Palm Drive, and we're continuing that with grants from CVAG and another state transportation grant. So all of Palm Drive, starting from Camino Aventura all the way up to Mission Lakes Boulevard, will be brand new. It's just bringing more pride to our community. We've redone all our medians. We're working on the aesthetics, the look, the feel of Desert Hot Springs. It's not the stigma that a lot of people had portrayed it to be in the past.
A question from Brendan Rome. Has the city initiated a hiring freeze?
We have. We are not hiring any positions that were out there, so we stopped any hiring. We have not furloughed anybody. We haven't felt the need for that right now. We did put a freeze on any additional hiring. All our workers at City Hall are working from home unless they're essential, such as public works, public safety, code enforcement. They're still in the field. We're still doing business inspections. Our business inspectors are working from home, but they're still responding to inspections when requested. And we still have somebody answering the phone from home. So if the phone rings during business hours, someone's still going to get you to the right department if you need help.
When did you say the City Hall, the tour, video tour, the virtual tour is going to take place?
Next week, we're going to video it. So if you're watching it, following me or the city on Facebook, you'll be able to see that tour. We'll do it live, but it'll be recorded so it can play over and over again.
Okay.
So it'll be fun to get through there. I did a tour yesterday, and I got to see the new council chambers and the offices. It's beautiful.
And when will you move in?
As soon as COVID's over, they're going to plan on moving in. The city council meetings probably won't happen until late summer. The furniture for the council chambers has been stuck in Canada, so until it can get over the border, we're going to wait for that furniture to be delivered. But for the most part, it's about 95% complete. They're finishing most of the AV and wiring inside. And then they're going to, as soon as everybody gets back to work, they're going to start moving them from departments over there.
Do you have a date for that predicted?
No, well, we're hoping sometime at the end of May. That's what, people, if you look at COVID realistically, we're probably going to be set in this position for another 2 or 3 weeks until we can get back to some sort of normal. I keep saying back to normal, but we're not going to be normal for over a year until a vaccine is said. We're going to be wearing masks, and we're going to be canceling large events, and our goals is to get a small business back open. And how do you do that? And that's what people are trying to come up with a plan, and that's what Desert Hot Springs is working on right now, is how do we open these businesses back up safely and still adhere to the county orders. So if everything works well, we hope to get people back to work at City Hall sometime in May, but it all depends on this COVID-19.
Has the city received calls or emails regarding assistance with the SBA loans?
Yes, and if you are following me on Facebook or you follow the city on Facebook, I decided about the first week just came down to do a weekly or bi-weekly update on what's going on, and then we morphed that into webinars. So 3 weeks ago, we did a small business association, a small business webinar, which we had the SBA, our economic development manager, there was someone else on the line there, and the Greater Coachella Valley Chamber of Commerce, and we talked about help and how people could apply for small business loans and where they could get money, and I know the money's running out, but there's more money coming, and SBA has multiple resources throughout the Coachella Valley to help small business, and so we put that out there and let SBA talk about it. So if you haven't heard that, or you know someone that needs help, it's a great place to go and listen to that webinar. It was less than an hour, so it was good. We've
Very good.
also held 2 more webinars. We've held one on healthcare, and then yesterday we held one on food programs in our community because we have a lot of people in need for food.
I love seeing it with all the cities. They're all doing their part, and the volunteers are just amazing.
Yes, they are.
I have a question from Mary Broken. Are there any new housing developments on the near horizon?
Yes, fortunately, we still have some housing permits being pulled. So if you're familiar with Desert Hot Springs, Skyborn has partnered with Gallery Homes. Gallery Homes did a small project in the city of Desert Hot Springs about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, maybe even longer. And they came back to partner, and they've taken over a phase, which was phase 2, I believe, of Skyborn that had a few homes built, and there was a lot of pads left, and they're going to finish the pads. So I believe it's around 20 homes. Also, Mario Gonzalez, GHA Homes, they've repurchased Aguas Dulce, which is next to the post office on 2 Bunch Palms, and they've processed paperwork, and they're going to finish 70 homes there and finish that community. We've also had a lot of infill homes going on, a lot of permits pulled for infill homes, and then Watermark Homes is also partnered. I'm sorry, I forget who they partner with, but they've actually taken up, I believe it's 10 pads in a small 1-block development in the north end of the city, Mission Lakes and Little Morongo, Sunset Springs. No, I'm going to get it wrong. Rolling Hills, and they're going to finish those pads there also. So there's still home building going on. It's great, and we're supporting it.
Is there any new commercial being developed?
At this point, the only new commercial being developed is Grocery Outlet. Grocery Outlet is about 75% complete. They're on Palm Drive, almost across from the Vons Kmart shopping center, just south of that on Palm Drive, next to the Pizza Hut. And they're in the process of building brand new. We did get funding from the county supervisor for a brand new library, which was technically supposed to break ground in April. It technically broke ground, and the construction crew will be working on that. We'll see a brand new 15,000 square foot library on Palm and Park Lane, which is just south of Vaughn's Shopping Center, and that'll be most likely open sometime next summer. And we hired an economic development manager. We have many contracts throughout the years with companies that would come in and promote Desert Hot Springs and look for retail businesses, but if they didn't like it, they had another city to take them to. And so we actually hired somebody in-house that would advocate just for Desert Hot Springs. And we did a study 10 years ago, and it was $60 million leaving the community. 60 cents of every dollar that was spent was being spent somewhere else. And we need to attract that back to Desert Hot Springs for the tax revenue. So really focused on that over the next 2 years.
Have you, I know the city was working on the planning department, and there was some changes made over time. I think it started last year with rezoning Palm Drive, because a lot of it is residential zoned when it should be commercial zoned. Has that been approved yet by the city?
Perfect timing. So the general plan update is happening right now. We just went through a lot of exercises with stakeholders. City Council has just had their one-on-one meetings, and the final draft will be coming to the City Council. There's going to be a special meeting, and I'm trying to think of the date. It's going to be at the end of May, I believe. Check the city website if you're concerned about that. There will be a special meeting coming up for the general plan, which has the new proposed maps.
I know they were going to be doing a lot of mixed use, but the cities at the time, maybe they have it now, the zone text change. Or are they going to approve it first and then do the zone text?
I believe it's going to be all in one.
Okay.
If you have questions, don't hesitate to call City Hall and talk with Rebecca Deming. She's our community development manager.
She's very good.
I believe all the documents are now online or will be online soon for you to review. And if you have any direct comments or questions, she'd be happy to answer those. She's been doing a really good job of getting the answers to the people who have questions about that.
She's been very helpful to me, because we were the ones that sold that property to grocery outlet.
Yeah. Okay.
So we have the rest of that parcel to sell. And I know that one was already neighborhood commercial, but
Yeah.
there was some others down the street. In fact, grocery outlet is right across from the new library, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yep. Right there on Palm.
All right. Well, let me see if there's any questions. No more questions. So would you just give us your last thoughts about what is going on and how, whatever comments you want to make?
Well, again, I appreciate everybody doing the social distancing thing. It's been really important to us that we continue to support what the county said for public health. Now, I say that, and then I also say this: we got to get small business back open. It's important. It's so important right now. We have to come up with a plan for that, and that's what I'm hoping with some of the conversations with the mayors and the county supervisors, is that we're going to get this plan quicker than not. We know there could be another outbreak sometime this winter, and that's what the CDC is saying, is be careful. And so we just need to do that, be careful. And I think people have learned. I believe we're all wearing our masks. When we go to stores, we're standing 6 feet apart. We're wearing gloves, or we're at least sanitizing. And that's what's so important, is that we continue to do that. We don't want these deaths. I shouldn't say this lightly. It's only 99 deaths, but they were counting on over 1,000 deaths by this time in Riverside County. So we've done our job. I believe we're doing our job. And now what's next is for us to get these businesses open, get people back to work. There are thousands, hundreds of thousands of people in this county that have lost jobs or furloughed, and we need to get them back to work. The government's not going to be able to sustain continuing to send stimulus checks out. So let's find a way to get people back to work. Let's get our businesses open. Let's stay safe, and let's follow the orders that are out there, because they're out there for a reason.
Thank you so much, Mayor Mattis. It was a pleasure seeing you and hearing from you today.
Thank you for having me.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for being here.